And inside, I thought, but if you really knew me, you wouldn't be saying that. I needed to have that moment where I knew that when he wrapped his arms around, and that's how that ends, and it's in the book, step by step of what that night was. And when he wrapped his arms around me for that first time after I told him everything, and he said, I love you, in that moment, everything changed. But then God also jumped in and said, and that's how I love you as well. I know everything about you. I know everything. And this is how I receive you. This is how I love you.
Now, Jennifer, in your book, too, I mean, we're not going to be able to get through the 7 principles, obviously, because it's a really great book. There's 7 principles of getting over yourself, which I think is key for, you know, viewers to know. But it's, as I was looking through the chapter titles, it's so much of an action to go and do.
Yeah.
Wash your face. Go.
Right.
Take a moment to mourn your past. It's not passive.
Right.
Like, we're being assertive, not aggressive, but we're being assertive in making good change in getting over ourselves. And I think for women, sometimes we can get so overwhelmed by the feelings, the circumstances, the environment, the shame, the guilt, and I think, and coping rather than, you know, dealing with. And I think that's a good, you know, lesson for us, that you have to make these choices. You have to be, you know, assertive and, you know, no longer passive in your life.
Right.
To have, you know, to actually pursue the purpose of God.
Well, 2 Chronicles 7:14 says, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face, then will I hear from heaven. And there's the if-then principle. If we'll do our part, God is more than willing to show up and to do his. So the book is done in the way that it is not a book of reading. It's a great story. The backdrop is a day in the life at Disney. How it ends that day is magical. But that's the backdrop of it. But it is a teaching. It's a real teaching. Every chapter has those questions, self-examining questions. It's a do book. You read it, but you do it. And if we'll do it, we can walk through these things, and we can take the wounds of our life and we could turn them into scars that will speak. Because as women, we've all been through stuff. I know that the next segment, we're going to talk about a man who's taking where he is in life and is using it. And so that the mantra, if you will, or the slogan, if you will, that I would put on my ministry and this book is turning your pain into purpose, and turning your misery into ministry, and turning the heartaches of your life into a heartbeat. So when somebody puts down that book, my hope is that they'll be able to see where they've been, they'll be able to walk through this journey with us together, and they'll be able to say, okay, I understand why I went through what I went through. I understand where I've been, I know how to get beyond it, and I know how to go back and rescue others and lead them to the healer, you know, that can bring us through. Those scars need to speak, but they can't until those wounds are healed up.
Truth versus the lie, Jennifer, a very important spiritual concept you bring out openly in your book. You go so far as to say Satan tells the lies. Now, Christ is the spirit of truth. We tell ourselves all kinds of lies. We listen to people. Many of us are conditioned from small to believe we're stupid. Well, just fill in the blanks. Yet you talk in your book about truth. And this is something where we connect with Christ. And if you could explain that.
Well, in one of the chapters, I say that you know, I take them back to Genesis, where God said the truth. The truth was, don't eat of this tree. The enemy came along and said, it won't kill you. You know, God said, don't eat of it, you'll die. And he comes along and says, no, you won't. So there's always a polar opposite. There's the truth and there's the lie. And then here we sit in the middle of it, trying to figure out where to go and who to be and how to walk. So we talk about walking after the Spirit, and we talk about that the Word is the truth, and that if we'll abide by it and we'll follow its steps, because there are steps all throughout the Word of God. It doesn't have to be this question mark, how. There's a want and a desire to get free, but the book says how to get free of it.
I'm glad you brought that question up, Christine, because I'm just thinking, as you're challenging us to authenticity and heart work. Last night on the news, they decided to find out why Miss Venezuela wins more beauty contests than any other nation represented. And you know what they discovered?
What's that?
First of all, there's a Miss Venezuela school, and lots of little girls go to that school, and they start out looking great. But then 50% of them have nips and tucks, implants, etc., to become perfect candidates. That's the world coming at us. You're saying, no, no, no. We're not about the cosmetic. We're not about the cover-up. We're not about the outward show. We need to go to the heart.
Absolutely. That's where it has to begin. You know, to me, I tried to change the outside, and it only just left me more confused and more frustrated. And when God started doing the work from the inside and I started getting over my own self issues, I realized that my problem was not with God, it wasn't with other people, it was within myself. And so once I got healing, and I was able to, take those wounds and heal them completely, it makes for a great ministry. It makes for great every day of hands-on.
And you've given us a great hands-on opportunity. Jennifer is making this book available to you at a special price. And if you order online and you use the code I'm going to give you, 10% of that amount that you pay will come to our ministry. What a sweet deal. So, www.getoveryourselfnow.com. Just getting that message is worth tuning in, isn't it? Getoveryourselfnow.com. The code you want, write it down, is Crossroads. Okay? To order, Get Over Yourself. This is a really good practical journey that can make a difference in your life. And I want to say Prince Charming lives. He's here for you. The wonders of his love are very real. It's not a fairy tale. The Bible calls Jesus the altogether lovely one. And here's what he says to you. Have you seen my crown? Have you received my crown? It's actually his crown for you. Because on the back of this sparkling event is the very word of God. You are precious and honored in my sight. I love you. His love changes the way you see yourself and your world. He wants to make all things new for you. Are you ready to give him all the dragons in your fairy tale? That's what Jennifer did. She had to give him all that junk, and look what happened. It can happen for you because God has planned for you. In fact, he says he's recorded every one of your days before you were born. It's never too late